I mean, at first I had to, yeah, like.
Good afternoon, everybody, or should I say good evening? We're gonna go ahead and get started here. It is 7 o'clock. So if you have people that could not attend tonight, let them know that we're gonna record. Let them know that we will post this on social media so people can watch this if they would like to learn more about the candidates. So again, thanks for attending tonight. We have these great people up here today. Election on November 7th, and so we're hoping that everybody gets out and votes. Tonight's objective is just to learn a little bit more about them so that you can cast your votes accordingly. So tonight we are going to run for about 60 minutes. We may go over. I was a little nervous because we've got so many people up here tonight. We may go over a little bit, but we're going to try to keep it timely. Beth is going to be our timekeeper. If you see Beth giving you the wave, that basically means your time is up or darn near time to go ahead and concede to the next person. We're going to try to give everybody equal time, and we're going to do so in 4 parts. The first part, we're going to go ahead and do candidate introductions. You're going to get 2 minutes to just tell us a little bit about yourself, why you're running, and I think we sent you all some questions just to kind of prepare a little bit for that segment. The second part is we have some questions that we have done other board forums in the past, and so we pulled a few questions from there. We're going to try to keep that to about 3 questions. The third part then, obviously, we want to give our public some opportunity. If you have questions, Beth has note cards up here. She's already collected a few. If you have questions, please submit those. If we have duplicates, we'll do those and try to ask just one question if they have commonalities. And we'll do as many as we have time for before we go ahead and go to closing statements, which again, we'll try to keep about 1 minute. So we're going to be on a really tight timeline. So before we get ready to go here, is there any questions? Everybody understand what's going to happen tonight? All right, let's get this show on the road then. So we're going to go ahead and get started with quick introductions. We're going to start over here to my left. So Joshua, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're planning to run?
Yeah, my name is Josh Kirkpatrick. Live right here in the old Sadell School District. Many generations, my family's been here. Interested in serving the school board, simply just to serve. I've got the time to do it now. I didn't have before raising all the kids. We're down to the last one. Got grandkids coming up through here. There's been a lot of good work beforehand, and I just like to carry on that tradition. Accomplishing, when it comes to accomplishment, I just want to be able to get the hard questions out there. I want to make sure people can have good conversations and to a good conclusion. Make sure everything's clear. I've been kind of preparing myself in a way to be on the board now for couple years now. I've been slowly getting integrated with more stuff with Emmy coming through, and finally made the conclusion about the last vote when we was thinking about going down to 75. That's when I decided, yeah, this is the time. So where do you go for that? The reason why I'd be a good board member really would come down to just being wiser than when I was younger. Having 6 kids that had already gone through here, I kind of know the district quite well, as it's had many changes over the years. And I have a memory of this place being very grand. I'd like to see that stay focused and on track and get back to maybe some of the old traditions as well as we integrate. And I'm just proud to be part of Sadell. I wouldn't live in the district or be here if I won't. Thanks. Have a good night.
Thank you, Josh.
Hi, I'm Trisha Zeiss. I've lived in the Sadell School District now for 18 years. Some of you have heard I have a daughter who is a senior this year at Sadell, and she has been here her entire school career. My husband's originally from Des Moines. I am not. I come from a much smaller town and a much smaller school district. I am interested in being on the school board for the fact that as a community member, I feel that it's really important to stay connected to the school. The school is our main reason why we exist, why we're here. I feel that being on the board will help me continue to share information with the community. As some of you know, I do run the Sailor Township Facebook page, and one of the reasons why I started that 14 years ago was to get to know my neighbors, get to know more people in the district, other than my husband's on the fire department and I know my fire department family. I think it's just very important to keep the taxpayers in the know as to what's going on here. And I know that as I went around to get my signatures from the community, the people in my neighborhood, we have an older neighborhood that a lot of them have no idea what's going on. And they ask questions and they want to know what's going on because they are the taxpayers. The things that I would like to see to accomplish, I know every year we're talking about the fact that we need to do teacher retention and that. The student reading and math scores, I'd like to see those up, and then keeping the community informed.
Tricia, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Christensen, you're up.
All right, so good evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Gary Christensen, and I have had the pleasure of serving on this board for the last 4 years. As a 1999 graduate of Sadell High School, I know the value of the education that I received. As my wife and I were thinking about where we should send our kids to school, we decided that, you know, one of the best places that we could send them for a quality education was to bring them back to Sadell. As a member of the school board for the last 4 years, we passed the bond, we've renovated a vast percentage of the building, wonderful new learning spaces. I've also, you know, tried to be active. You know, I've been a member of the policy committee, served on the community education committee, gone to SIAC or school improvement advisory committee meetings, calendar committee, attend as many other committee meetings as I can, just so that I can get out and learn as much as I can about this role, because there is a lot to learn. You know, with that, you know, I've been able to be purposeful in my work schedule to be available not only for those meetings, but have taken the opportunity, as many other board members have, to get out and go into the schools, to tour classrooms, kind of see what's going on during the school day, to make ourselves visible and present, to show the teachers and the staff that, you know, I'm not just sitting in this chair. I care. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what I can do to help it move forward. As a member of the school board, I only have one vote, but I have a voice, and my voice can ask questions, add to the conversation, can raise awareness, can give feedback to assist the entire board's decision-making process. So, as I said earlier, my children are now third generation Sadell students. My pride in the district continues to grow, and my goal is to continue to help the district in any way that I can.
Thank you, Gary.
My name is Jimmy Vanderkamp. I'm current member on the board here. I actually was appointed to a vacancy about 6 months ago, back in April. I've lived in the Sadell School District pretty much my whole life, since second grade. I'm a 2001 graduate at Sadell. My wife is a 2004 graduate at Sadell. And we currently have 3 daughters in school, 8th grade, 5th grade, and 1st grade. Some of the reasons I'm interested on serving on the Sadell School Board is just we're committed to, you know, I have 11 more years of having students in the school. We've lived here our whole life. My wife's, you know, second generation, so our kids are third generation Sadell students. And we really love the community. We love the school district, and I just want to try my best to give of my time, you know, and serve people. When I was in school, there was great school board members who gave of their time to keep this place functioning correctly. And, you know, if I have the ability and the time to serve, then, you know, then my wife and I both have, you know, made the decision that we're going to serve the community if we can. So, being prepared, what I've done to prepare really just kind of the last 6 months, being able to be on the board, it's kind of been drinking from a fire hose to learn it all, but which there's a lot to learn, and I really enjoy. I've tried to make as many meetings as I can, you know, research, learn things. I got a long way to go before I consider myself even well informed, but it's opened my eyes to the community, to the school district. Today, actually, I got to spend the day at Woodside, just walking around, talking with teachers, seeing students. It's like an eye-opening experience that, you don't always get. So, very long time's up.
Oh,
Thank you.
my name is Samantha McNeely. I am a class of 2004 graduate. I'm married to a class of 2005 graduate. I did not live in the district all my life. I came in middle school, did have a really great experience. I'm interested in the school board because, during COVID-19, when I only had a preschooler, I have two, students at Cornell, a second grader and a 4-year-old preschooler, so we're fresh in the game. So a lot of this stuff is very new to me. But when we were faced with so many challenges, we had all these options of what to do. We could send our kids to private school, and now those options are even more wide open to us. Contemplated quitting my job and staying home and teaching my kids myself, which would not have been a good choice. But we really wanted to promote public schools and be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And so I want my kids to have that public school experience. I want them to have a well-rounded experience. And so I desire to be on the board so that I can be part of the voice for other families just like me. And so we have a community of a lot of need, and I'm a relational person, so I see that need and I want to be able to be there for a lot of those families. I was up here in the spring, just as scary this time as it was that time. But Jimmy was able to secure that spot, and I'm so thankful because it's taken me 6 months to understand what we're doing here. I wasn't totally sure what I was getting myself into, but I had the desire, and I really do care about the community and all the students and all the teachers and staff that are included. So if I were able to be on the board, I would be committed to all the entities that go into it.
I'm Jennifer Van Houten, and I am not a Sadell graduate. I graduated from Centerville High School in '91. And it's a school district similar in size. So the feel that you get here at Sadell is very similar to what I grew up with. So it's nice to see my kids coming to Sadell and having some of the same experiences that I did growing up. We actually lived in Ankeny when my kids started going to school. And so I have 3. Jake's at Iowa, he's at DMAC, and Ryan's a junior at Sadell. So we actually open enrolled Jake and Katie when we lived in Ankeny. We wanted them to have a smaller town feel, and we get that from here, from Sadell. So they get a lot of the small town feel, but the big city experience that you do living here at Sadell. So I'm running because I want to be serve the community, and I want to be a voice for our students and our staff. Gary mentioned before, you're one of 7, but you do get to participate in that conversation, and I enjoy having different views with our 7 board members. It's enlightening, it's informative, and you definitely learn a lot. I've served on the board for 8 years now, and I thoroughly enjoyed serving the community. My experience is the 8 years of board experience. I was PTO president prior to that, met a lot of great elementary teachers and had a lot of fun doing service projects at that time. Going forward, I also would like to see our test scores improve, trying to help provide input into what that could possibly be, how we can make Sadell a better place and have higher scores coming out of our school, and also retain our great teachers that we have in the district.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thanks.
Ryan, you're up.
My name is Ryan Bueller. I'm a current school board member. I actually came on this time last year, actually. I think it was September I came on. I was appointed. So part of why I'm interested in serving on the school board is I live in Norwoodville. I know Gary was trying to think, I know Michael was trying to think. It's been quite a while since we've had a board member living in Norwoodville and representing Norwoodville and Berwick. I know a lot of people over there. I know a lot of people over on this side of 22nd Street also. But I came to the school board because I've got 2 daughters here that have been here since, actually both of them were born in this area. I come from a small town in southern Iowa. I moved up to Des Moines in '98. I am just one of those people that likes to help the community. I'm an EMT, have been for over 20 years. And even when my body tells me to give it up, I don't. What I hope to accomplish as a school board member, our test scores are a big thing. But as many of us know, COVID really started to hurt the mental health of our children. Our schools are working on that. And Saydell specifically is constantly trying to figure out ways to improve that. I've been on the SIAC committee we talk about that. It's just one of those things that we need to continue to work on. Preparing myself to be on the board, last year I went to the Iowa Association of School Board Members Conference, took every class I could, plus I took every online class from the system also.
Thank you, Ryan. That concludes the first part of the candidate introductions. Thank you all so much for those introductions. Gave us an insight on who you are and what you're planning to do as a board member. We're going to move to part two, which is just a few questions that we have prepared, and I know you all had copies of those. We will not ask them all, but we'll just ask a select few. A reminder to the public that's attending, if you have questions, please submit them on these cards. I know some of you have brought other questions so that we can go ahead and ask those in the next part. I know some of you typed them up. If you did, you can just send those up. We're happy to write them. But I just want to let you know that that's what the process we're going to be using. So if you would just send those up before the next section, we'll make sure we ask as many as we can. All right, we're going to go ahead and start the second part here. And this time, I think we're going to start all the way down on the right side. So Ryan, you'll be first today. The question that we're going to ask that's been prepared, what do you believe are the greatest strengths and or challenges of our district? And how would you recommend we address these as we take future actions? Let me know. Oh, sorry. Let me know if you want me to repeat anything.
The greatest strengths of our district is that we do not leave our kids behind. We take care of every kid from, our honor roll students all the way down to our special education students that need help. We don't let them fall behind. We don't let them get, fall down into the cracks. Personally, my oldest daughter, second grade, was struggling reading. Mrs. Dennis at the time actually took time every day to help Tammy. That is one of the greatest strengths of our district is our teachers here. They don't give up on our kids. They treat them as if they are their own. Our staff here, in the school, outside of school, they see the kids, they greet them. One of the greatest challenges we have, we're kind of landlocked. We don't have a lot of place to grow. So that's probably the biggest.
All right, Jennifer, would you like me to repeat the question?
Strengths. I think that our small district is a strength. I think that we get to that small town feel, as I mentioned earlier. I think we still have a lot of opportunities for our students. One of those things is we allow our students to dual enroll at the high school level and go to DMAC so they can get college credit. We've had students actually earn their Associate of Arts degree before they even graduate from high school. They get a head start, a jump start on great things on their career to start with. Weaknesses, I would say, I'd really like to see our staff retention be higher. And I also think that a lot of times our district ends up being a stepping stone for bigger districts or bigger opportunities for some of our staff.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I think, the small town feel is pretty obvious. That's what we all love about here. I think, being able to feel like you're in a small community, but the interstate is a mile either way, which is awesome. But I also think that we really excel, in our community as far as community groups, last night I went to my first trunk or treat, but I saw so many great kids from our community that you don't always know if they're going to get out and be able to be, part of that and participate in that. And so I think they do a great job of pushing some of that community ed. We did pumpkin painting and they had a great turnout there at Woodside. So I think doing things that intentionally to bring the community together, I think they do great. the free lunches, the up-to-date technology, the beautiful renovations, I think those are huge draws to our district. They really improve the environment and forward thinking for our kids for the next stages of learning. I think communication could be a little bit better here in our district. I think there's a large disconnect between families in the community and people to make the decisions.
Thank you.
As far as strengths go, I think our staff, our teachers are phenomenal. We have some really high caliber teachers who truly invest in our kids. You know, I specifically know of a elementary teacher who literally says she loves her kid, the kids like they're her own, you know, and it makes it easy sending your kids to school, to a place where your kids, you know, are gonna feel safe, gonna feel, you know, appreciated, taken care of. The staff is phenomenal. The community feel, I love the community here. I mean, been here most of my life. Can't say enough about everything, the small town in the middle of the big town. So as far as challenges go, I think right now one of our biggest challenges, kind of had a meeting before here, but is the budget, figuring out numbers. It had teacher cuts last year, kind of squaring that away. When budget is tight and teachers have to be cut, that's really difficult decisions to make, so.
Thank you.
I'm gonna echo a lot of what has just been said. I mean, but for me, it's our wealth and diversity of programming. You know, everything from, you know, Jimmy said that our wonderful teachers at the special education level, all the way up to ELP, our athletics, our fine arts, all of our other activities that are available. Part of the draw of Sadel is that you're able to do as many of those things as you want. You know, if you want to be a 3-sport athlete at Sadel, you can. If you want to be a 3-sport athlete and do marching band, you can do that too. Some of the challenges, you know, like other people have mentioned, you know, we are kind of a landlocked district. You know, right now, there's not a ton of readily available affordable housing in the district, and that's going to kind of cap our growth. In meetings that we've had, you know, Polk County has plans in the future that may alleviate that, but that is a big challenge for right now.
And to reiterate what everybody else has said, yes, we're a smaller school district. That's what kept my husband and I here in this area. We wanted to raise our daughter. Like I said earlier, I went to a very small town school. And I like the fact that it's not super small like my hometown, but yet we're not so huge that we don't know other parents or we don't know the kids that our daughter's hanging around with. I really like the fact that my daughter's been able to be active in sports. She's in color guard for bands, basketball, volleyball, those kinds of things. Yet she's able to keep her grades up and she's able to attend DMAC to get those college credits before she goes off to the big school next year. Thus, other things would be that aren't so great is, of course, yeah, the landlocked area, the communication, budget cuts. We don't like seeing those. I think that would be a challenge.
Thank you, Tricia. Ashley?
Yeah, well, I think we're all in like mind here. I got on a smaller class size is definitely a plus to us, closer community ties. And then renovated facility in the fields. With that being said, the smaller class size, that small town feels also a draw on the budget. You know, and that's where we gotta find that equal balance. I do believe we have a low employee retention. Becomes a skipping stone. I think that we're staffed really good for the existing services we have, except we're inadequate on the higher achieving end and maybe the struggling student. So we got to figure out how to balance that and get them more involved and big. So I think we need a lot more alumni involvement, and that's hard to do in a working class area. That, I mean, we're in an industrial area here as well, and you know, a lot of parents are working 2 different jobs, so we just got to balance that.
Thank you, sir. All right, second question here. It's question number 4, by the way, if you're looking at your list. one of the things that the Sadell board has worked extremely hard on is unity, making sure that when we build consensus for a decision and when we walk out the door, that we are all in agreement in how we are moving forward. Inside, we may have disagreements, but once that decision is made by 7, we all support. So with that in mind, in terms of open-mindedness, impartiality, and justice, how will you shelf your personal interests, inhibitions, and or biases to ensure you maintain complete objectivity to serve the vested interest of all students, parents, and community members? This time, we're going to start with Gary.
So, great. I kind of mentioned it, way back when I first jumped on the board. I mentioned it earlier. I have 3 students in the district. When I sit in this chair, they are not my primary focus. My primary focus is every single student, every single staff member. Privately, like I said, I can have concerns about how this is going to affect them, but the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So when I'm making decisions here, I put that stuff aside. Jen mentioned earlier, the 7 diverse voices. We all have an opinion to share, a viewpoint to bring, and it's only by listening and kind of synthesizing that all together that lets us come to those conclusions. And we've done a great job of supporting that decision when it gets made.
Excellent. Next.
Going along with what Gary said, I like the diversity of the board. All of our kids are in different stages of life in the district. So some of us have a little more of a idea what's going on with the elementary school or the high school, so we can bring all those ideas together. And then realistically, my opinions on what I want best for the school really doesn't matter as much as what the community wants. I'm just one voice of 7 who speaks for everybody out there. So I really have enjoyed working with some of the members on learning different perspectives, gaining knowledge that I don't have or that I haven't experienced. So at the end of the day, it's a learning experience too. I learn every time I'm here from different perspectives. And I really enjoy working together, getting more information on different topics and coming together to make positive decisions.
Thank you.
I really love the collaborative efforts. I think that we all do have something totally different to bring to the table. This board's been going on, a lot more than I do. I'm here to learn just as much as I am to contribute. And so, like Jimmy said, my kids are really young, so this is all very new to me, but, I think that I would hope for an open narrative so that, teachers and families can feel comfortable coming to us as individuals of the board, to bring their concerns, so that we can join in that unity of the community.
Thank you.
I think a big important part of that is being involved in schools, in events and other things outside of at the board table, to be able to get feedback, to be able to listen to that feedback, but then also bring it back to the board, those different perspectives, and listen to what other board members have to say as well, and make the right decision for everybody. And it's Gary, I've learned a lot from Gary because his kids are younger than mine. I've learned a ton from Doug, who's sitting in the middle. He's served on the board for quite some time, but his kids were in different activities, and that's been very helpful to hear those different perspectives that may be a variety across the community.
Thank you.
So, like I said, I got 2 kids here. But when I walk through that door, what they want doesn't matter. What I want personally doesn't matter. It's what the 7 of us that sit up here have in front of us that we all have to decide on. Do we always agree with each other? No, we're human beings. We're not going to. But if you come to this table in an acronym of HAV, honest, open, and willing. If you are honest about what you feel, if you're open to listening to what others have to say and willing to, work it out, that's what we do here. All of us, since I've been here, I've seen all of us do it. And by doing that, we're thinking of our kids first. We're thinking of our staff, and then we're thinking of our community.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's well put. In all the years of me coaching and being involved, you learn this skill very, very early on when you start coaching your own children. Right? It moves on to bigger, greater things that you get engaged and involved and sometimes have some passionate debates at a local level and move on up. And if you've ever ran your own business, you understand exactly what BDO going. When you come through them doors and you decide to serve, you are serving the community. At least that's what you should be doing when you walk through here. That is my goal, is to be able to serve them. So I'm hoping that the engagement from our community is great. Because the more we can have that discussion, whether we agree or disagree, is all for the benefit of the good of this whole community, specifically our children.
Those that have known me in the community just through the township Facebook page, you would know, have gotten to know that, there's been a lot of things over the years that I've had to kind of work with people in the community, a lot of opposite opinions. And it's not always easy to do. It's the last, especially 8 years has been, very trying and, interesting. But, I can tell you, I've made some really great friendships with those people that I disagree with. I am somebody that's gonna listen. I'm gonna take that information back to the board. I'm gonna work with the board and, even if there is like some differences, try to voice that opinion of the community so that they see other sides of it. It's not just coming from just a one-sided thing.
Thank you, Tricia. Speaking of opinions, so politics, and you are now asking to enter into the local political arena. There are a lot of opinions out there and a lot of differing views. So politics is becoming much, much larger in terms of the board, at the board table. So number 5, serving on the school board places you in a political arena. How will you manage the political side of your role, and how will you balance that against personal relationships and or family, could be neighbors or friends that you have within the community? Why don't we start with Samantha?
This part makes me a little bit less comfortable than some of the other parts. I've largely been off of social media for a while, and so putting myself back out there in a position where you open yourself up to any of that is a little bit difficult. But I do think that some of that does equate to growth, and I think that it will put me in a place to recognize my passions and be willing to speak up in areas that I normally wouldn't. We are in kind of difficult times, and people do have a lot of opinion, and it is kind of hard when you are in your own community with people who you love and care about. And so being able to balance that with, understanding that everyone does have a place in this community and their opinions really do matter, and then not letting it drive the forces of the people who are really keeping tabs on every working piece of this school district, and letting it all work together.
Thank you very much. Jen?
I think a big part of that is listening, but also understanding that you're serving a whole community. It's not just one opinion. There are several opinions out there. Maybe just not the loudest necessarily. So you have to take all of those in and make decisions that may be tough ones, have tough conversations that maybe they are the right way decisions to make. So they aren't always easy.
Thank you, Jen.
So I always said I'd never get into politics. I swore against it. Look at me now. But one thing I've learned, being on the school board is, yes, it is political, but it's not political like you see other things. I got lots of friends within the community. They come to me with concerns that they have. And I have to sit there and look at from a board perspective and a personal perspective, and I have to tell them sometimes, I appreciate you reaching out to me right now. If you have further questions, please reach out to the district office. I can't comment. You know how hard that is sometimes when, I gotta call Todd. Hey, Todd, I got a question for you. So that's how it comes down to it.
Thank you.
Well, I don't really see it as a political seat. It is by nature, but if you're serving and you want to be there, then you're just doing your duties. A little bit different than trying to go pull into running for office on president. Just a totally different mindset in my mind. When it comes down to it, you just gotta hold true to what you believe is right. That's why you're here. You gotta understand and be open to what you're hearing and then put it on the bigger picture. Because it's a very complex system. Schools are not cut and dry. The policy is there and it's always gonna be perfect. It's a moving piece that you have to always constantly be reworking. So, I can completely concur with what you're saying. Sometimes you gotta, well, I gotta get the right answer before I answer that. I just think if you have the right conversations, it'll happen. Thank you.
Honestly, I think it's great when people have different opinions. You learn from them. And you're not always gonna have the greatest, you're not always gonna agree with the other person, and that's fine. It's how you handle yourself, how you're going to take that difference of opinion back and what you're gonna do with it. I have friends, we do have differences in opinions, and sometimes you would think those heated discussions are gonna break those friendships up, but it actually has opened my eyes and opened the eyes of those friends. And I think as long as we're, working together as a group and doing what we can to work through the problems, we'll be in good shape.
So one of the things I like about serving on the school board is even though my name is going to be on a ballot at an election place on November 7th, it does not list a political party. Because as we talked about in number 4, you have to be open-minded. So just like I check my personal stuff at the door, I check my political preferences there too. Kind of the time that I've been in this role, I've been more than happy and more than willing to stop at a sporting event and have questions asked and answered by email, by a 5:30 a.m. phone call. Kind of when the questions come in, part of the role is to be there to answer. And to answer a question properly, most important thing you can do is listen. And so, yeah.
So I know I've only been on the board for 6 months, but in that short time, I couldn't tell you the political preference of any of the fellow members on the board, and I like it that way. One thing, like the way I view it is my politics don't dictate my values. My values dictate, who I vote for. So at the end of the day, my values are going to be my values, and I can't change that. And that's the way I feel. But at the end of the day, my values don't dictate what everybody on this board decides, or necessarily the policies that I vote for. I might, have to make decisions that aren't exactly down the line that I view, but what's best for the community. So, I don't know. Politics are it's a terrible thing.
All right. Thank you very much. It is now time to move to part 3, questions from the public. I have 4 or 5 questions up here. Is there anyone else that has questions they'd like to send up before we? Anyone else? We're gonna have time for 3 or 4. So if they have commonalities, we'll go ahead and try to ask them. Okay. All right, in taking a look, let's start with achievement, because there's several questions up here around achievement. Actually, three of them, and they're crafted in different ways. So I'll go ahead and just ask the simple question of, what can you do as a potential board member to help improve student achievement across our district? And please be specific in your answers. Why don't we start with Jen today?
Okay. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned over the years in regard to achievement is to listen to the leaders and the folks that know. So we get a lot of input as board members from our administration, from teachers on what will work. So one of the things we've been talking about lately at the board table is curriculum, and how can that help our teachers teach what needs to be taught so that our kids are learning what they need to learn and able to take tests and move on in their careers and take the next steps. So I think a lot of that is input from the professionals and also educating yourself. So understanding what's out there for us, how can we be better? How do we compare ourselves to other districts, and just learn anything we can about retention and how to teach our kids.
Thank you very much.
So helping students achieve. There's a very nice couple that's here tonight, that I've been emailing back and forth with. And one of the things that they asked me was how I felt about, career skills for the students. We're getting to a day and age now where it doesn't matter if you have a college degree. It's, there's a lot of things that you still have to have it, but there's a lot more where you need those hands-on skills. And Sadell has been working very hard to increase that. And that is where I think we're helping our students achieve, because we're giving them every option. We give them the opportunity to go to DMAC, to work with other, companies out there, hands-on skills that are helping these kids. Because, honestly, I'm one of those people that I learn better from hands-on than I do reading. And I know our kids do too.
Yeah, I believe that if you're trying to find achievement, you gotta go to the people that are actually in the trenches. You gotta figure out what the teachers need to be the most successful. And then first and foremost, the number one teacher is the parent. And we need to get them more involved at home on the daily readings, the extra things they need to be doing. If they need resources at home, maybe they're shy on that financially, or maybe they don't quite understand, like math. We decided to change how to learn that from back in my day. There's about 9 different ways to learn that now. So I just think that's gonna be your best bet, is to get involved highly there and get the parents back in the learning seat with teaching as well.
Thank you.
Trying to think of a different way to go about this. It definitely takes the people that know best, our teachers. I think as a community, we have to come together to help the students achieve more. Whether that be in the classroom, outside of the classroom, sports, music, all sorts of activities. There's an old saying of, it takes a village to raise a kid, and I am a strong believer in that. That's how I grew up. The people down the street were looking after the kids just as much as mom and dad were. And I don't think we see enough of that. So I'm kind of old school on that.
So raising achievement across the district, from my seat, there's not, personally, there's not a whole lot I can do. I'm not in the classroom teaching the students. So then my role becomes more supportive. So from my seat, what kind of things can I do? What kind of supports can I what kind of things can I do to support the teachers that are doing the work? the administrative teams, the associate, what can I do there? Because as we support, those that are in charge, the hands-on learning, that's going to improve our achievement scores.
Thank you.
So, as an electrician, I don't take advice on how to do electrical work from somebody who doesn't do electrical work. So to me, I think one of the most important roles that we have is sitting in the back, Ms. Tracy Luss. She does a phenomenal job of evaluating curriculum, finding things that are gonna work well among the staff. And then beyond that, we need to find a way to let the teachers teach. They're dealing with so many behaviors, or just, today I walked through the schools in here, and every teacher who had a free period had to go substitute because we're short on subs. So the teachers are not getting the time to spend with students to help them achieve better. They're not having planning periods to be able to put things together to help our students achieve. So how do we address that? I don't have those answers, but I'm gonna look to people who are a lot more qualified than me for that.
Taking a little bit of a different approach, but I do also want to compliment Tracy. It has been really eye-opening to be able to see some statistics that I've never, looked into very much, but I do notice a huge gap in those transitions. We've got these kids ready to and willing to learn in elementary school, and they're bumping up into a weird stage of life into middle school, and it's really hard to fill those gaps. Teaching them life skills, building their character so that they are able to face daily challenges while also learning, gives them a better trajectory to their future.
Thank you.
I think I was first, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
She started.
sorry.
Yeah.
Forgot my
Sounds like
answer
keep
already.
The next question is, so Jimmy, you talk about the environment. Sadel's story has changed over the years, and for those of you that have graduated, it's a much different place now than it was. And so we have talked quite a bit at the board level about the changing Sadel story. We do have disruptive students. We do have safety things that are occurring in the environment. So there's two questions here about safe environment. What will you do to ensure the safety of not just the classroom, but also across the district for all students? Students that come from all walks of life, what will you do to encourage that? And what will you do to keep learning the top priority in terms of safety for classrooms? Why don't we start, gosh, I don't remember my order now. Let's see, who hasn't gone first? Tricia, you haven't gone first yet.
Safety in the classroom. I have an older sister who is also a special education teacher, and back in that small town of mine. And I've talked to her a lot, and her and friends that have kids in other school districts, and unfortunately, it's safety, we all know, is not any different with any school district. Everybody's seeing the same issues with the disruption in the classroom. Everybody's trying to figure out how do we navigate that. And honestly, I don't have a straight answer. I don't know. I don't know if anybody has a clear answer on how we're gonna do that. But I do think listening and coming together with what we can and trying to work through that the best we can, it's just about the only answer you can come up with.
Thank you. Karen.
Kind of for I guess I'll start district wide. I know especially with the renovations that we've done, we've secured all outside access to the buildings. Visitors have to route to the office. I know pre-renovation here at Woodside, office could buzz you in, and the office was past the hallway. So you were inside the building before you went to the office. That situation has been rectified. We've kind of added security to the doors here at the district office. We put plans in place for, we've actually unfortunately had to do it already this school year for a whole campus lockdown. Those plans and procedures are in place. We reintroduced a student resource officer into the district. Primarily at the high school, but they do a great job of getting around to the other buildings as well.
Thank you, Mary. Jimmy.
I think one of the biggest drivers of what's going on is mental health. A lot of kids are dealing with things at home that really, I can't believe what some of the things they're dealing with. So obviously I can't just print money, but we need to find a way to prioritize, maybe whether it be counselors, more support staff, something to be able to get more boots on the ground, I guess you'd say, to help these kids. I mean, like I said, I keep bringing it up, but today, you got staff that has to spend most of their day just following one kid around the school. And if we could take that off of, a principal's hand or a teacher's hand and put that on, I don't know, it's heartbreaking to see these kids that, I mean, I can't blame a kid for any bad behavior because a lot of it starts at home, but the mental health issue is just devastating.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think all in all, it's a kind of a lack of support system. I think, Sadell isn't unique in a lot of the behavioral issues, but it is unique geographically. So we have a wide range of students that go to our school, and that lends to a lot of benefits, and then it can also lead to a lot of distractions, and the teachers are the ones who are paying the ultimate price. I don't know what it will take to deflect some of that distraction, but I do think that taking care of our teachers and their mental health and giving them those breaks and giving them the resources that they need, and helping them navigate those incidents, because principals are spending their entire days rotating kids in and out and in and out, and it's cutting through productivity. So I think, and then that trickles down to our students who are also being disrupted and not getting a full day's worth of learning. So unfortunately, like you said, it's not just us, but we definitely need a solution.
Thank you.
Gary mentioned renovations, and Jimmy mentioned mental health. There've been a lot of things, improvements that we've done over the years in the district. But we need to continue to build on those. I think that part of that is over the years, we've learned a lot over the years from professionals, and we need to continue that learning to understand what else could we do to swing the pendulum in our favor to get the benefits that we need for our teachers, for our kids, for the district, to keep them safe, give them resources that they could take advantage of to help them as well. But listen to the professionals to help us understand what are those next big things that we could do to help our district.
Thank you, Jim. Right.
So safety of our district, this makes me think of a man that I saw last year. Quote, "The struggle you're in today is developing the strength you need for tomorrow," Dr. Adolph Brown. He talked a lot about safety and how we need to look at what are going on in our students' lives, our kids' lives, and then help them figure that out. We are doing that here, again, with the SRO, trying to get additional training, to staff. Yeah, there's more trainings that we'd like to get them to. We've talked about it. It's just a funding thing. It's a time thing. But ultimately, we're doing what we can within our means as they sit right now for the safety of our kids. Is it everything we need to do? No, it's not. Do we want to do more? Yeah. And will we find a way? Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, it seems like to me, emotionally, the kids are maturing much faster than they used to. I don't know if that's a technology thing or an outcome of COVID or how it works and why that happened, but with the mental stability that you're talking about, I've seen that in the coaching I've done, being in the environment. I think that teachers do the best they can with the situation we have, and they work relentlessly to give our kids education and keep them safe. I think we need to empower them a little more, and I don't know what all would go into that, rather than having a special ed only, or only the principals being able to handle certain situations that may require a little physicality and things of that nature, because you never know where that's coming from. Any student could have a breakout, which could disrupt the classroom. I believe they have to be able to be empowered for that, handle situations, and just create a good, safe space for that particular student.
Thank you. The next question, we do have time for just one more before we go back to closing statements, is really about retention. How do we keep our good people? How do we protect our staff? So the question is really around, what will you do to help retain our people? What will you do to help empower them, encourage them, attract them to stay in our district? Because we know that over time, they make a bigger difference. There are several things that are happening or in the mix. There's even talk of a 4-day a week to try to do that, but I'm curious to know, and this question comes from the public here, what types of ideas you have and what types of things you are thinking about in that vein. So why don't we start with Jimmy, since we haven't started with you?
I think a big thing of retention is support. You know, the giving teachers the time that they need during the day. So planning periods, maybe if it's, you know, being able to, you know, add a planning period. So if they do have to miss a class for substituting, I don't know, support staff is tough, but I mean, budgets are hard, but if they don't feel valued, if they don't feel like they're heard, if they don't feel like they're being, you know, taken care of or supported, then they're not going to stay. And that starts at the building level and then works all the way up to us here too. We have to show support. We have to let them know that at the end of the day, we want them to be here. We're trying to do everything we can to give them everything that they need, but support's a big thing.
Thank you. Samantha.
I feel like I need a little bit more research in this, you know, because I know what they're up against, and I know that that it is a tall order, and it would be a hard decision to want to go into education in this day and age. And I don't really have a great answer for how to solve that problem. You know, I think something about our community, you know, we've got teachers in this room that have been here in the double digits of years, and something about making them feel like they are part of this family, I think can potentially give them a reason to want to continue to grow and see these kids grow up and their kids turn around and come back, you know, but I don't know the answer on how to lighten their load, because it's going to be a lot the same everywhere. And like, because we are a smaller district, the budget is an issue.
Thank you.
I think one of the big things is listening to feedback from teachers. We have an employee relations committee that is a great avenue to hear feedback from teachers, but also just knowing that we're here as board members participating in board breakfast or back to school, just so that they can see us and know who to reach out to if they have things on their mind that we can advocate for. Benefits and pay, always looking at that. How can we pay our teachers as much as we possibly can? We're currently looking at insurance to provide the best insurance possible at a rate that is affordable for the district and teachers. I know it's not, Linda's looking at me like, huh? No, I know, and it's tough. That is it's a tall order, working on things. Also giving the support that they need by being able to have those support staff in place and listening to their needs. So.
Thank you. Ryan.
So retention, I think the first thing we need to do is we can sit down with our staff and talk to them, but actually give them a chance to talk to us. You know, tell us, what are their concerns? What are their needs? What are their desires? What can we do as a board to help? What can we then do to assist, you know, Mr. Martin, the principals on down to help our staff? Once they know that we're here, we're listening, we want to help them, then maybe they'll be willing to come back to us and help us to help them. Because ultimately, we need their help to help them. But we got to give them that opportunity to come to us and not be scared that they'll get retaliated against or something else.
Yeah, I think there's been so many great teachers that say no. I mean, I could go on and on forever. I think one of our best avenues is to reach out to some of them great teachers we've had, because a lot of the issues we're dealing with, yes, may parallel into this. They would have a lot of good answers. Now, it was a different time when they was teaching, there was different outcomes, different things could be done back then, that can't necessarily be done today. That doesn't mean we can't have the conversations on how we can work it. I think it does come down to great support. A lot of them figured out their own support system in the old days, and it didn't necessarily get paid or a stipend. They just kind of did things, you know, and figured out that, yeah, we gotta do this to make this successful. We've got a lot of services available now, probably more than I could ever think of in the district, and that's great. But that all comes at a price, and I think the public needs to understand that. They really need to look at what services would benefit them the most to keep that retention in there. You gotta really keep the teacher on the forefront of this, and how are we going to give them the best tools to go out and educate? Thank you.
Kind of, as Sam had said, I feel like I need to have a little bit more research discussion in that. One of the things that I personally started doing, and I had hoped I had the chance to talk to some of the teachers that have recently left prior to tonight, to get a better idea. I've been reaching out to them. I want to know why they've left State Health. What is it that they feel that we could do better? I think that along the lines, you know, doing that and maybe working on some type of a step ladder to their continued education. What can we do for them to better their knowledge in that, to then in turn get them to stay at Sadell longer?
So going last, I echo a lot of what's been said. So, I mean, it comes down, you know, to that support, you know, to listen to that feedback. You know, we've at the table tried different things, you know, push salary, tried benefits. When, you know, when one didn't work, we switched back to one that did. Based on feedback that we received. You know, this year's schedule with taking away the late start. Part of that was a curriculum base, because math was saying they didn't have time to teach a full math lesson in a shortened Wednesday period. So instead of just wasting that Wednesday in math, changed it to give a full day for professional development, for planning, however that day gets spent, but it's a day without students. And then just my last one is, you know, as I sit here, you know, continue to show the teachers respect and push that respect out to teachers from the community as well.
Thank you very much. So we'll move on to the closing statements at this time. And I think we will start with the people that are newest to the election first. We have 3 members that have not ran before, or at least not on election. And so Samantha, why don't we start with you, and then we'll go over to Joshua and Tricia, and then we'll go to current board members.
Sounds good. I see your children like they're my children. And I think that we can maximize on the good and minimize the bad. I actually think that we have, you know, in the next decade, which I'll still have children here in the next decade, we do have a lot of room for growth, actually, you know. And I think that some of our neighborhoods will start turning over, and we have room to change our reputation and bring more families here. I think that there's a lot of opportunity for success in that we can support our quality educators and our staff, where they can, they and their students can feel safe and they can thrive.
Thank you, Samantha. Joshua, you're up, sir.
Yeah, I'm very proud to be sitting up here talking to everyone. I'm looking forward to molding the environment that can promote more you know, for you to contention, I've always heard, well, the numbers are down and the class, you know, goes up and down and then COVID hit and there. But as long as I can remember, Sadel's kind of been in this same rep for numbers. I want to see that grow as we go forward, not just with teachers and families, but together as a community. I think one of the things we probably need to look on this even further is the tax base. You know, we are shoehorned here. I don't know how we can expand it. I don't know if there's a way to do it, but there's definitely room for growth on that. We've got one of the best communities I could ever ask. And I hope I can be here for another 20 years.
Thank you, sir.
I, not being a Sadel grad, still hold a lot of pride as somebody that lives here in the district for the last 18 years. I know my daughter sometimes is like, why did you put me here? But I think as she's grown older, she gets it. She gets why. My hope is my husband and I have already been working with kids out in club volleyball. He'll be helping coach basketball here this winter. We're not planning on going anywhere. And I want to just continue to do what I can to help make Sadel a better place. We found it to be a wonderful place to be at, and I know many of you have as well.
Thank you, Tricia. As our newest board member, Judy, you're next.
Well, the last 6 months have really been a privilege. I get to know all the board members, get to sit next to Doug, even sometimes if he doesn't like it. And get to meet just, you know, Mike and Gary and Jen, Ryan and Julie. I can't forget anybody, but it's been really good to see the school from the inside. Back before I signed up to be on the board in April, my wife and I kind of just talked that we either need to like dive all in and get involved, or, you know, it's not really our personality not to. I can't just send my kid to school at 8 in the morning and have him come home at 3 o'clock and then just say, hey, how was your day? And then let's go watch TV and, you know, wait till tomorrow. So my wife's connected, you know, she's PTO president. She's a substitute at the elementary. So we've just kind of dove in head first, and we're committed to Sadel, and we're here for at least 11 more years. So.
Thank you, Jim. Next in seniority, Ryan, thank you.
You know, I don't really know what to say. I've enjoyed my time on the school board. I've enjoyed my time getting to know the staff, the students, supporting our school. You know, my real big thing that started this was helping out with the bond referendum. You know, I got a lot of slack from a lot of people, but at the same time, I got a lot of people that said, hey, tell us more, you know. I don't plan on going anywhere. I like the school district. I like our community. I like the people. And I know that all of us board members, you know, we all bring something different, and that's why we're here.
Gary, next in seniority.
First, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, for taking the time out of your evening to come and join us. You know, being on the board for the last 4 years, you know, a couple of words to describe it. It's been interesting. It's been enlightening. And most importantly, it's been engaging. As I now have students in all 3 buildings, I'm getting to see more of the district than I had before. Kind of like Jen mentioned, I started off as Cornell PTO president, which I have graciously handed off to Jimmy's better half. So I get to see more of the district. And, you know, in my opinion, our district is moving forward. And I'd love to have the opportunity to continue to assist with that momentum, to be a voice for the community, to drive our students to excellence. And just finally, Sadel has been, is, and will continue to be a place that I'm very proud to call home.
Thank you very much. And Jen.
So, as you know, I didn't grow up here, but this Sadel is my home. It's been very, very gratifying serving on the school board. It's fun work, it's engaging work. Sometimes it's frustrating and it's hard work, but it is still gratifying. And one of the things I would say is I'm still learning, still learning things about budget and the way school finances work and just many, many different things. That's what makes it gratifying. So I'd like to continue with that service and with that learning. Hope that I'll have your support.
Thank you very much. So that concludes the fourth part. Couple comments to be made. First and foremost, in a time when volunteerism is down, in a time when serving sometimes is down in terms of numbers, I commend you all for your bravery in running for the board seats. It is not an easy time, and I think we all recognize that. So thank you for your commitments. Please help me in thanking. Before we go ahead and adjourn, is there anybody that has some kind comments that they'd like to make to the board? Encouragements, perhaps? Sure.
I'm Dennis Salt. This is my bride, Miss Paula. We've lived in the district since 1971. Our kids went K through 12 here. Just because we're a lot older, we certainly don't have any children that age anymore. We want to thank the board for their months and years of service and the time you take and the sacrifice you made to help guide this district. Thank the people who are here. We need to encourage our other neighbors, relatives, and friends, get involved, show up at these meetings, bring your ideas. We don't always agree, but we need input. I run a business and I say, I don't care where the idea comes from. I want input. I don't want yes people. I want people to tell me what they think. Well, that's what we need here. We have to do it professionally. So we sent 5 questions in that touched, you guys have touched on most of them tonight. One was about porn, critical race theory, STEM, teaching. You touched on the DECA or the trades. And you talked about discipline. Gentleman down here, Josh, talked about parenting. I'm convinced that parenting, 85 or 90% of how kids turn out has to do with parenting. Serious problem, a lack of parenting in this country has been going for decades. So I don't know how we work on that problem. We all need to work on parenting. It's hard to tell other people, you can't tell people how to parent their kids, but it's important. One of the things, we know teachers around Central Iowa, the biggest complaint we get is discipline. They can't teach the other kids. They're disruptive. They swear, they slap the teachers, they slap other kids. We have a good friend that's been a teacher for 20 years. She told me a while back, I don't know how long I could do this. She says, I love what I do. I'm not sure I can continue to do it. It's like retention is somehow discipline in the schools. And one of you people said like a handbook. I don't know how we put the responsibility back on the parents. So I don't know how we do that, but that's what I would like to see happen. Have a handbook, you have to follow it to the rule, and everybody has to, the principal, the superintendent, the teachers, you have a protocol, and you do this and this and this. And I don't know how we put it on the parents, but that's what needs to happen. You guys can't control those kids, our teachers can't control the kids. Our principals, no, I don't know, not here, but we hear a lot of things, we know several teachers around Central Iowa. So, I don't know. Thank you, keep up the good work.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Help guide this district to make the best decisions you can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Any other kind words of encouragement?
Linda Reed, I've been a teacher at Woodside, here at St. Al since 1997. So I'm not a resident, so I can come as kind of a voice that is here to totally listen because I'm not a voter here. Missing my own forum in my town tonight because this is more important to everybody. But I want to thank you because I think in the 28 years I've been here, this is the most candidates we've seen run, and I think that's awesome. So every one of you, thank you for stepping up and putting your hat in
You got something you want to say?
I'm stepping down, as you all know. I've got 2 more months. I just want to say good luck to each and every one of you. Thank you for stepping up. I know what you're going through. I've been up there a couple times doing this forum. Nice job. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you for your service, Doug. We appreciate that.
So we're gonna go ahead and conclude, but I would invite everybody to stick around if you have additional questions, or if you would like to personally meet the candidates. I'm certain they would want to shake your hand and have further discussion. So I will go ahead and conclude. So you are free to mill about, ask questions, or head out. Thank you all.
I meant they.
I'm doing the fist bump line.
Trisha, take a little pumpkin, Joshua, take a little pumpkin. Thank you. Little one, yep. You can have it if you'd like. I mean, you have to favorite one. There you go. That's still taking this over. Did you get your pumpkin?
Oh.
Yeah, I've got a choice.
I don't know about you.
You should take notes if you do that again, because that was good. The kids loved it. My only suggestion, very hard to do control. I don't know. What we had a lot. That was good. I had fun experience. All right.
You know, I never got paid, but that's me. I'm. I don't. I'm grabbing it. I don't have. Like it.
Right, you know.
Well, all generations. You know. You know, so how do we go? And I think some of the things that we talk about. You know,